And hello, everyone. I hope you're having a great day. Welcome to the Unseen Journey. I'm Guy, along with my co-host Ashley. We are brought to you by Operation Red Wings Foundation. Actually, I just got done leading one of those. We just did a couples retreat. It was a blast. So Ashley, what do we got going on today?
Okay, so today we have Victoria Bothmann. She is one of our ART therapists, and we're going to learn about ART, Accelerated Resolution Therapy, and what that means. She is an LPC associate supervised by Mark Cagle Jr., who is the owner of Be the Light Counseling based in Huntsville, Texas, so right where our headquarters is.
Yeah.
And she is trained in ART and specializes in utilizing ART to help individuals such as veterans. And Victoria completed her degree from Sam Houston, so right in the heart of Texas. And yeah, so that's what we got going. We got Victoria here.
Nice.
Hi, guys.
How's it going, Victoria?
Going well, thank you.
Yeah. How's your week been?
It's been a week. But yeah, I'm ready for. Actually, I was gonna say I'm ready for it to end, but actually no, because I have a retreat this weekend here in Huntsville.
Nice.
Retreat. So
A female
I'm
retreat?
excited for it.
Yeah,
Yes.
very cool. That should be awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, and I just left North Carolina, got done with a couples retreat. It was really cool. We had 3 couples from Puerto Rico, 1 couple from America. And so I'll tell you a quick funny story. So my daughter's bilingual, right? I'm not bilingual. My wife's not bilingual. My daughter's bilingual.
Wow.
So we went ready to do like the colors survey, where you're trying to figure out kind of like your natural way of going through life. And I see her kind of look at the paper, and everyone else is trying to like do their color survey. And I can just tell immediately. And I walk over and I'm just like, hey, 1 second. And I snap a photo of it and I call my daughter and I'm like, hey, I really need you to translate and help this lady do this survey so she can participate in the retreat. And so she stayed on the phone with my daughter and walked her through the color survey. It was like proud dad moment. Popped the chest there.
That is so cool.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome.
That's really cool. So, well, I'll take this guy because I'm gonna, since this is Victoria's very first podcast ever, and I promised her we're gonna take it easy on her. So before we put her in the hot seat with all of our, clinical questions, Victoria, I'm gonna ask you, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received, and have you put it into action?
Ooh, okay. So the best piece of advice that I have ever received is to find mentors within your, specific, I guess, career, and even and professionally and personal. Just find mentors, find people that are like-minded and that are, there to kind of help push you forward, especially in times that, life just gets rough. And so I have actually put that into practice all throughout college. So during my bachelor's and my master's, I found people that were there to help push me forward, especially when those times got rough. So I have put that in practice, and I'm hoping that I can also do the same for the next generation of therapists. So I actually spoke to someone yesterday who's wanting to get into the program at SAM in the next coming years. So I just told him, hey, you have my number, reach out to me because I've been there. I know the struggles, especially I'm a first-gen college graduate. So
Nice.
my parents were very supportive. Very, very supportive. So I thank them for that, but they never went through the process of college, much less, getting their master's. So I know what it's like. And like I said, I want to be, I want to mentor the next generation. So.
Nice.
I love that.
Yeah, I think that's so cool, Victoria. And Ashley, it's such a small world, right? So last night, my daughter and I were doing daddy-daughter date night. And so I already told you my daughter's bilingual. So she's the only non-eighth grader in eighth grade Spanish. She's in sixth grade. And so recently she was having an issue with 5 students that were bullying her because she was so advanced in Spanish. And it's cool because the advice you gave is exactly kind of the path she took, right? She didn't come to me. She went to mom, right? I think she was nervous. I was just going to go pin them all against the lockers. So she went to mom, and then mom got her in with the student counselor, right? Which is their job, like you're saying, mentor the next generation, help them understand what's going on. And then I was so proud of her because she was brave enough to continue to speak her story to the principal. And those 5 students, those boys, are all serving ISS, in school suspension now, for 2 weeks. So yeah, so your story and your bit of advice, I chills. I love it because that's exactly what my daughter and I were talking about last night on Daddy-Daughter Date. Ashley, what are your thoughts?
I mean, talk about the unseen journey that, we don't often realize when we get advice from our mentors, how we're going to put that in action. And then that does give me the chills because then you put it in action and you see it work.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
You don't see it at first, but you eventually hope to see it.
Oh, I love it. I love it. All right. Well, Victoria, we're not going to put you in the hot seat, although I'm going to be honest. Actually, that first question was like, I was thinking to myself, I was like, I don't even know. I don't know. What are we diving into here today? What are we learning about?
Okay, well, let's learn about Victoria because I'm sure our listeners have heard about, clinicians and what it means to be a mental health professional. And Victoria, I wanted to start with your interesting story as an LPC associate. So can you tell us what that means and where you are in your clinical journey?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm just going to share a little bit of a backstory of Be the Light Counseling and how it came to be. So I was actually, during my time in college, when I was getting my bachelor's, I was up at the University of Texas at Tyler. And so that was my first time away from home. I made this huge transition into I call it a small town because compared to Houston, it's small. So no family, no friends there. Like, I just got up, made the move. It was something I wanted to do. I was scared out of my mind. And so the first year, things went pretty smooth. But then about that second year, I was starting to experience my own mental health struggles. And counseling was never something that, I went to. Not because, my parents didn't believe in that or anything like that. It was just not something I ever asked to go to. And so the school had... they had counselors that were master students needing to get hours. So I first, went to see them. They realized that I needed a higher level of care. So I started seeing the LPC. At the time, they were interns. They're equivalent to what I am, an associate. And so I found a counselor there that was absolutely amazing, helped me through some really tough times. And I also had a mentor who was an LPC. She was a master's student, but she was just someone that I met on a weekly basis, just as a check-in and stuff. But those 2 young ladies, they had a huge, profound impact on my life. I think it was my last semester before I graduated. I was struggling really bad. I almost dropped out. Just because I didn't know if I could handle it anymore, but they helped get me to that finishing point. When I graduated, I decorated my hat, my graduation cap, and the quote that I put on it is, "Be the beacon of light in someone's darkness," because that's who they were for me. Fast forward 2 years, well, actually, rewind. So I was getting my degree in psychology. I decided that I wanted to go on to counseling. I applied to Sam Houston State. I got in, which was super exciting. And so I started their program 3 weeks after I graduated with my bachelor's. I was a girl with a mission.
Woo!
So
Nice.
yes. I was just like, you know what? I'm already going, so let's just keep going. I graduated in December of 21, which is crazy to think. So I'm a little halfway over with my hours for my LPC associate license. I should be fully licensed sometime next year, so summer, if not fall. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, very cool.
As far as my own practice, Be the Light. Be the Light was actually born February of this year. It was something that I decided I wanted to do, was open my own practice here in Huntsville. And when I was trying to figure out the name for my practice, I was going between a few names. And then I realized that the name had been with me for 3 years now. Be the Beacon of Light, but I kind of shortened it to Be the Light Counseling. And that's how Be the Light was born. So.
Man, Victoria, I love that story. Ashley, can I take a moment? Because there was something so insightful in there, and I really want to make sure our listeners catch it, right? So Victoria, you said, so you are a clinician now, and you said that you were willing to go to a clinician. And I think that is so powerful, right? Because we're all human. And if you're the person saying like, hey, maybe you should come see me, maybe you should come see a clinician, people turn to you and go, well, yeah, but did you ever have to go to a clinician? And now you can be like, yeah, totally. I know it's the same way when I'm team leading ORW Foundation retreats, and I'm trying to convince people to do ART, accelerated resolution therapy, or come to the retreats knowing there are going to be clinicians there. And I always get asked, right? Like, well, do you do any kind of therapy? It's like, oh man, let's get the Rolodex out real quick. All right. Like, I've been through individuals, couples, family, like, let's just, throw it up there. Right. But I think that's so awesome and profound, especially as, new into your career as you are, to be able to have that awareness and say, yeah, I'm going to go get help the way I hope someone does when they come to me at my practice. Ashley, your thoughts?
I just think it makes me think of, Guy, Mustangs in the military.
Yeah.
The best. Are you a Mustang?
Yes.
Okay. So for our listeners, a Mustang is a person who is an officer but was an enlisted person first.
Yeah.
So they walked the walk, and it's very common that it's well known that Mustangs are like the best officers because they've been there. They, walked the walk. So that's what it makes me think of, as a person who's using mental health services, but also providing mental health services because you've walked the walk. You're not only talking the talk.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Victoria, from graduation to starting your own practice to finding your way, because I know you said you have a retreat coming up this weekend, female combat veterans. How did that connection occur for you to find your way into ORW Foundation?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. So I was actually working for another practice last year, and my boss at the time, she was the one that met with Dale, who is, I believe he's the president, right? And so that's how I got involved. Yeah, I've never met him, but heard he's a nice guy. So, that's how I got involved. And then whenever I came off and, opened my own practice, I still continued with Operation Red Wing. And so I've actually been with them. Foundation.
We gotta put that foundation in there.
Foundation. Can't forget that part.
We got you, Victoria.
Thank you. I've been with them since December of 21. So I've about a year.
Years.
Yeah, a year and a half.
Nice.
Yeah, not something I ever saw myself getting into as far as, working with veterans. I have a few family members that are veterans, but it wasn't something, that really affected my life. So, like I said, I never saw myself kind of getting pulled into it, and it just kind of happened, and I've stayed, and I've loved it, so.
Well, let me ask you this, because now, okay, so you've been working retreats since 2021, and you've worked a probably 10, 15 retreats maybe, or?
Probably more than that, because at one point I was doing 2 a month.
Wow. That is awesome. That's a good sign, Victoria.
Yeah.
Good for you, because it's not easy work. It's as a clinician, I'm sure there's some stability in seeing, regular patient, clients. And with our retreats, you never know. It's a mixed bag. And so I wanted to ask, because have you done both male retreats and female retreats?
I have. I've done male, female. I've done the family retreats and couples. So I've done, I guess you could say I've done all of them.
So this is what I want to ask. This is a hot seat question. Which are your favorite retreats? The female retreats or the male retreats?
Oh
no! That is a hot seat question.
I got you. That's too easy. It's the female retreats. Go ahead. You're good. I got you covered.
Actually, it's the male retreats. It's the male retreats.
Okay, you won, guy.
I know like different modalities, right? So I personally have experienced like EMDR, right? If I'm saying that correctly, eye rapid movement, whatever. And then we're talking about ART, accelerated resolution therapy, right? And that's the one that we do at the retreats for ORW Foundation. So just from your perspective, right? Because you've kind of seen both like coming in and getting help, and then now you're helping others. How do you see ART? Like, is it doing great things? Is it good, not good? Like where are you at with ART? What are your thoughts on ART in general?
I love ART. I mean, I even use it in my private practice as well, because there's just times that, a client or, they're going through something that it's hard to talk about, because, bringing these things up, it can be re-traumatizing within itself. So being able to utilize ART, which, as I'm sure as both of y'all know, you don't actually have to tell the clinician what you're working on. And so I've had clients in private practice and at ORW, the retreats, where they just work on something, but they don't necessarily tell me what they're working on. And so I feel like it's such a helpful tool where the client doesn't have to talk about it and be re-traumatized.
Yes.
So I love ART. And that actually helps with, at least, I'm not going to speak for all clinicians, but at least for myself, it helps with my burnout, because I'm not taking on all this.
Oh, yeah.
Because I see 3 to 4 clients at each retreat for 3 days. It can become a lot, and so being able to have that, it's almost like a protection, like where they can work on something, not necessarily share it with me, and I'm not being overloaded with all this stuff, if that makes sense.
What a great word you just used there, a protection, right? So like all of us veterans, I'm gonna speak for myself. I got into service, not because I wanted to go be like the next John Rambo. However, it was the idea of like defend and protect, right? It was to go help in other places where I could make it better. So this idea of veterans or anyone really going through ART, accelerated resolution therapy, not having to talk, and it's like protection, so they're not re-traumatized. That's an awesome point. I love it.
I wonder if Lainey wrote that in as a concept of ART, of having that, protection, that barrier to protect the clinicians, to be able to provide more services. That's awesome.
Yeah. Hey, Lainey, since you're watching our podcast, just come on and be a guest and we'll discuss ART. I don't know. We'll find out. She's going to come.
Operation Red Wings Foundation, we are ART champs over here. I mean, that
is a true statement.
Come on. I love it. Well, Victoria, you kind of led into one of my next questions about how you manage your own well-being and emotional resilience while dealing with the challenges that, the veterans that you serve come across, and how it aligns even with your own clinical journey. And so how do you plan to continue prioritizing your self-care as you progress?
Oh yeah, for sure. Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries.
Ooh, girl,
I am
I
not
love
afraid.
boundaries.
I am not afraid to set them. I have my office hours. If someone messages me outside of them, I look at it, I read it, I make a note. Okay, I need to answer my email or answer that call or that text tomorrow morning. Because when I'm home or when I'm out with my husband or my family, that's my time to just take off that therapist hat and just be human, be a wife,
Ooh.
be a daughter.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, setting those boundaries is super important for me. I love to hammock. People tell me that's not a verb, but I've made it a verb. Hammocking is a verb for me.
Like being in a hammock.
Yes, being in a hammock. And I've done that ever since my college days, which actually I'm kind of sad because the hammock that I had since my college days, it ripped. And I was in it when it ripped like last week.
You
I got
used
stuck.
it so much.
I used it so much that it ripped on me, and my feet were in the air and my back out and like on the ground. I had to call luckily he was home, and I said, "Can you please come get me out? I'm stuck." And he had to cut the hammock, which was I was sad because I'm like, I've had this thing since my college days, and now it's gone. But he gave me a new one, so I'm excited for that.
Nice.
But that's
A
something
new mission.
that's me time. That is me time. I love to read. I take my Kindle with me everywhere. And so yeah, whenever I'm just laying in it, I'll either sleep or I'll read or I'll listen to an audio book or something. So
I feel like with your story, instead of calling it hammocking, maybe we should call it cocooning, because you emerged, right? And butterflying, you just flew away, right? Like,
right.
it could be the new thing, right? Like, yeah.
Yes.
We can probably make it go viral. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, do you have a Ring camera out there that we have the video footage of this happening? I mean, I'm glad you didn't get hurt, so now we can just, go
I wish
with it.
I told my husband I almost told him, grab the camera and grab your phone, take a picture of me, because I was literally, my feet were in the air, my back was on the ground, and I'm like, we need a photo, but I was trying not to laugh. I hurt my back a little bit, but I'm fine now.
Okay.
But I wish I had the photo so I could share that with y'all. It's forever ingrained in my memory, though. So
we're just all gonna interpret it in our own minds.
Exactly.
I got you. I can see you emerging from the hammock and the butterfly. Just there you go. You're off on your unseen journey.
Right? This has definitely been an unseen journey thus far. So
yeah, for sure. Okay, so talking about the unseen journey, and just experiences and everything you've kind of been through. If you could jump into like a cool time machine or whatever, fly back to the past, find younger you. What's that piece of advice? What do you tell younger you? Right? Like what do you say?
Ooh, you're gonna make me tear up over here. So I would go back and tell her that everything's gonna be okay. Because I went through a really, really tough time back in college. And each and every person that I met along the way, whether it was a friend, a mentor, a lot of those people I would say turned into family. I would tell her that everything's going to work out. Because at that time, I didn't know what was gonna happen. It was that unseen journey, very scary, just not knowing what was gonna happen. And so I would tell her that everything's gonna work out. Just keep the faith, lean on your friends and your family, because that's what they're there for, and continue following your dream. I know that sounds so cliche, but
It's true.
That's what it is everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah,
And
that's the thing about those cliches.
right, and
Yeah.
everything you're going through is setting you up for the future. And
Yeah.
you don't see it now, but it will be there one day. So
That's so profound on so many levels. And yeah, actually you're so right, right? It's like drink that down, right? That's it, because it's so good.
It's so good.
And even for like future participants, as you talk about this idea of like everything's going to be okay, like thinking back on retreats that I've been a team leader for, when we'll have participants who I feel like just overwork up in their minds what it's going to be like, or almost go into like a panic shutdown mode, and they don't ever take that first step, right? They don't just show up. Right. So step one, just show up to ORW Foundation retreats. Just show up. Right. And as you all have already learned from Victoria, you don't have to talk about your trauma. So there is that barrier, that protection, that defense for all of you. Right. Combat veterans, spouses, family retreats, children. I know my children have been through. Yeah. And just thinking about, as you said, it will all be okay.
It will all be okay. Yes. So, Guy, I have something. And Victoria, I feel like you inspired me as our second guest and hearing your insight as a clinician. So, Guy, you know how offline we've been talking about introducing the unseen elements?
Yes.
So, I really think so. I've been kind of keeping notes here.
Okay.
And I really feel like we could start introducing this as we start closing our people out and retracing our unseen elements. And so a couple that I wanted to throw out of what I've noticed in today's podcast, how important mentors are.
Yeah.
How important boundaries are. Hammocking or cocooning. And that everything we go through, everything will work out. Everything will work itself out. And that's setting you up for the future. And all of these unseen elements are thanks to you, Victoria. Those are amazing.
I love that. I love that. Victoria, of those unseen elements, which one of those has impacted you the most in your life, and why?
I would probably have to say the mentors, because and I've had different mentors throughout, my college career, as I moved away to a different college, things like that. They all had a part in my life when I needed them. I think what I wanted to share real quick with, as far as like the retreats go, is sometimes these retreats are just the beginning. We're planting the seed. We're planting a seed that we might not get to see grow, but it's going to help propel them forward to their healing journey. And as far as my mentors, they planted a seed within me that other mentors took over and helped water and grow. And of course, I had to water and grow these things as well. That this is just the beginning. These retreats, it's not a fix-all. They're not meant to be. I see it as it's the beginning, or it's, wherever that person is, that participant is on their healing journey, we're just another step in that journey, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Ashley, go ahead.
Victoria just keeps on coming with the hits.
I know. I know.
Jeez. Yeah, so, Victoria, wow.
So, Ashley, your thoughts on mentors, because Victoria said that's her number one. So your thoughts on mentors and impact in your life.
Oh, 100%. All of these I love. I mean, I am a huge believer in counseling, and all of these are such great staples in receiving counseling. And they work. How we're talking about cliches, and it is such a cliche, but they work. And things are cliches for a reason. And these are proven little techniques that help us, build our toolkit for dealing with life's challenges. And mentors are such a huge part of that, especially for me. For me, mentors help I'm such a kind of person that loves to bounce ideas and have people remind me that I'm not crazy and, just encourage me, the basic concepts of encouragement and support. And it really helps to have that, and to have that from people who've been there to lead you on, the right path.
Yeah. I always tell people I am crazy. I just get paid for it.
I mean, that's true too. Yeah.
Yeah. So my thoughts on mentors, especially for our future participants or anyone who wants to reach out to a past participant or team leader, I always tell the individual males and I tell the couples, hey, you might have shown up to the weekend and you might not have that battle buddy anymore, that mentor, that teammate. However, that cohort you're with, that's now your mentors. Because at some point, everyone, like you said, like it's the starting point for a journey, although we're kind of all starting out in different places. And like, maybe I had to go through like the depression stage first, right? Or maybe I went through like the, just like loss of self-identity stage first, right? All these things that come flooding in when you're changing careers and you just retired and like your whole life was that profession, right? However, when all of you who are listening, watching, decide to come to ORW Foundation to a retreat, come on down. Spouses come to spouse retreat. You're going to meet a bunch of spouses in the same boat just like you. You're going to realize you're not the only one, right? Like we're all normal people, veterans, spouses, children. We've just had some events and situations in our lives that have led to trauma. And so, Victoria, going off mentors, like if you're out there and you're a combat veteran or you're married to a combat veteran and you want a mentor, come to one of our retreats because you're gonna come through with a cohort and all of a sudden you're gonna have them. You're gonna have them.
And look at these awesome people you're gonna get to work with.
I know.
I mean, right here, the proof is in the pudding, as they say. Another wonderful cliche. Well, thank you, Victoria, so much for being here today. It was awesome hearing your own unseen journey. And as you continue, your clinical journey with Be the Light Counseling, that's just so awesome as a business owner too. I mean, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And thank you for serving our veteran community with Operation Red Wings Foundation.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.